green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and clouds of white, bright blessed days and dark sacred nights, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow so pretty in the sky are also on the faces of people walking by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies cry, I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Oh yeah. Help me out. Oh yeah.
I'm Stephen Souza, the chair of the board of the Davis Cemetery District and Arboretum. 3 years ago, Heidi Kellison came to the board with an idea. She said, let's build a COVID-19 memorial. And the board said, we think we can do it. So we proceeded to plan, 2 years of planning. We proceeded to issue a call to artists. And that's when I started to really feel as though we could make this happen. I felt that we had the materials, we had reached out to the public asking for help. We had brought in sponsors from the city, from the county, from the Firefighters Association. We had community members step up and donate towards the art. We had nugget markets. We had Swim America. We had the Oddfellows Association.
Yeah.
We had just the Kellison family, the Souza family, the Bowen family, all stepped up and helped put together the resources. And then the artists, led by Wes Horn. Where are you, Wes? Led by Wes with Donna Lemongello and with Jennifer Nachmanoff and Roma Smith and Brenda Sipien and the community members, Joe, Catherine, would come day in, day out to help build this beautiful, beautiful memorial. Each and every one of the paths that we go through has a theme to it, and I'll let Wes speak more to that because he's and the artists are the ones that helped design that. And so you get through the portals and you get to the end, which is a reflecting wall. And that reflecting wall allows you to sit and think and remember, to grieve, to feel joy, to be reborn, and to have a beautiful perspective as you come back through. And you're able to take that with you, and you can take it with you each and every day you want to walk through it. Come as much as you can, because I found as I walked day after day after day, it got even more, there was more depth that I could feel. I could feel how each of the archways was invoking what was sought by the artists. For me, I had made the canvas. I dug the holes. I built all of the pillars with concrete. I filled it with 3,000 pounds of mortar and 2 cubic yards of concrete and hundreds of feet of rebar and stainless steel and wood. And then, once those canvases were done, we watched that beautiful art be created. And I really am appreciative to our board, And to our staff in particular, they were the first to cut the path. They cut that path, the first step to building this memorial. And they laid that weed cloth and that granite. And then they helped with the toughest of the construction was that first pillar. 5 times we had to lift it up and bring it back down because it was off by a 1/4 inch. And we got it. And we had to have force on a couple of them. Wes grabbed one and down it came, and it was locked in place. And then we got to the last of the project, the wall. And Ro did the beautiful artwork on it, and it was done on the front, and what was left was the community mural, a community mural on the back. Annika, Alina, Fry, Donna Lemongello, who at the last of it was down on the ground like a yoga position, painting the last fine lines. And we got it done. 2 days. 2 days prior, the last stroke of the brush was finished. We're happy for you. COVID-19 Memorial.
Thank you, Stephen, and thanks to all of you for coming today on this wonderful celebration. We should take a moment to acknowledge the land on which we are gathered. For thousands of years, this land has been the home of the Patwin people. Today, there are 3 federally recognized Patwin tribes: Katchal-Dihi, Band of Wintun Nations of the Calusa Indian Community, Quetzal-Dihi, Wintun Nation, and Yocha-Dihi, Wintun Nation. The Patwin people have remained committed to the stewardship of this land over many centuries. It has been cherished and protected as elders have instructed the young through generations. We are honored and grateful to be here today on their traditional lands. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
My name is Lauren Jewett. I use she, they pronouns. I work as the Director of Spiritual Engagement at CA House, which has been serving the UC Davis community for over 100 years. And I'm really honored to be asked to lead you all in a blessing. Before we do that, I'd like you all to just take a moment and I want you to think of someone who touched your life during the years of lockdown. I'm sure we all have a memory of someone that we lost, someone we know suffered, someone who helped us survive those times, and I'd like you to hold that person in your mind and heart as we do this together. So before I bless, I always like to take a few breaths to center ourselves, as this is a communal blessing. This isn't me blessing, this is all of us blessing this memorial. So if you'd take a few deep breaths with me. Let's all breathe in. Let it out. And another deep breath in. And let it out. And one more together. Deep breath in. And let it out. So I'm going to steal something from a former pastor of mine. She liked to invite us to warm up our blessing hands. So I'd like you all to warm up your blessing hands. And then in whatever way feels natural to you, then place your hands in a posture of blessing. That could be holding your heart. That could be holding your palms up. That could be kind of reaching towards the memorial. But whatever posture feels open and something that we can kind of channel this through into this space. So now we'll begin our blessing. First, we offer up gratitude for all those who worked, gave their time, gifts, and creativity to bring this memorial to life. May this space be capable of holding all that it needs to. Our memories of the COVID-19 pandemic and all that has come as a result. Our memories of fear and our memories of hope. Our memories of isolation and our memories of connection. our grief and loss for those who did not survive, and for all the ways those years have irrevocably changed all of us. With this memorial, may we lift up and honor all of the brave, courageous, and selfless frontline workers, the ones considered essential, those who chose to keep doing their jobs, who felt called to try to keep the rest of us safe and clothed and housed and fed and alive. May we even more so honor the essential workers who felt they had no choice, that if they did not keep showing up to work, that their loved ones would suffer. With this memorial, may we honor the lives of disabled folks who taught us the wisdom of adaptation and mutual aid, and whose lives, even now, are still severely impacted by COVID-19. May this memorial challenge us, reminding us of the failures of the pandemic, the harms of individualism, nationalism, ableism, racism, and the many other isms that we saw made transparent in ways that we could not and cannot ignore. May we be challenged by the millions whose lives ended too soon, and all that will never come to pass from their absence. May this memorial also help us to find inspiration from the successes of the pandemic, to help remind us of what can be achieved when we share a common goal, to remind us of our capacity to care for one another, to show up for our neighbors near and far, and of how connected we are to one another in this global village. May this memorial above all be a place of healing, solace, and remembrance, and may it hold the space between how it is and how we desire it to be, and help us to work towards closing that gap, towards a world governed by peace, love, and justice, and where all lives are considered essential and treated as such. In the greatest of hope, may it be so. And I'll now invite you all into a moment of silence so that you all may lift up whatever words or thoughts or images or memories are still to be lifted and held as part of this blessing. So please join me in a moment of silence. Thank you.
Well, good morning, everyone. What a glorious morning. What a beautiful, beautiful, glorious morning. I just, first of all, deviate for just a second from sort of things that I had prepared to say, just because I want to just thank Reverend Jewett for that beautiful prayer and cause for reflection. I lost a really close friend during COVID, 41 years old in the fall of 2020, before the vaccine was obviously rolled out. And I'm a big soccer fan and a Sacramento Republic FC season ticket holder, and one of our close friends and season ticket holders just sitting just directly adjacent to us in our same group of seats, Melissa, I won't say more than that, but with a mom, a daughter, sister, friend to many, lived in Elk Grove, is not in the Davis community, but unfortunately passed away from COVID and complications due to COVID in November 2020, just 2 weeks after her 41st birthday. Not quite a Davisite or Yolo County resident, but nearby, and we know that's just one example of many of people that we all are touched by and knew in our lives that succumbed to COVID. So just thanks to many, of course. I mean, the Cemetery District, the artists, Heidi Kellison, Steve Souza, been so fortunate to work with a number of these artists over the years in other capacities, Wes Horn, Jen Nachmanoff, Donna Lemangelo, and others. So grateful for their creativity and their work. I think the key in some of this is that, one of the most affected sectors of the COVID pandemic was actually the artists community. A lot of artists lost huge amounts of revenue during that during that time. And one of the things that we, as a then city council, I was on the city council then, were really adamant about is that we advocated that the city set aside some of our American Rescue Plan dollars for the arts community. There were a lot of holes to plug and fill due to the pandemic, but that was something, including funds that were set aside for the creation of this memorial. Having transitioned to the Board of Supervisors during the last phase of the pandemic, I continued to see the situation, especially up close and personal, around mental health. So much of the county's responsibility is around health and human services delivery of services, but especially mental health services. And the health indicators around mental health were at epidemic levels prior to the pandemic, and they have only been exacerbated since that time. And it's no wonder to see why. There have been bright spots, though. However, the stigmas around mental health have begun to lift. The ability to talk about these issues in greater understanding by the public that mental health matters and it affects us all, including family, friends, and loved ones, and the providers who serve them. But there is so much work to do to keep reducing stigma and barriers to acceptance and healing. So as we all recall, during the pandemic, being outside was the safe option. That was one of the things that certainly kept me grounded during the pandemic, is the ability to spend time in the great outdoors. And it's so fitting, I think, that this memorial is located in one of our community's most revered spaces, most revered public spaces. As this place has long served as a place for those to seek solace, enjoy and experience the healing benefits of the natural world. This memorial really helps to enhance the beauty of this space. And I'm so grateful for the opportunity to spend time with you this morning and be with you and celebrate today. Thanks so much.
Before I begin my remarks, I would like to personally and have everyone here give a very big thanks to Stephen Sousa. Basically, I've had a full-time job out here for the last year, and you can see the fruits of his labor. Towards the end, he brought in the artist to be able to decorate it. I was out here and I got to put one tiny tile on there. I can show you if you want to see which one is mine. But he is way understating what it is that he did. He put brick by brick, built each of the towers, designed and had those archways put in. So I am just overwhelmed by the amount of work that he put into that. I am Sheila Allen, and welcome to District 4 for Yolo County. This cemetery and arboretum is within District 4, and we are so lucky to have wonderful staff to continue to make this a beautiful place for our community. I also wanted to thank are you the superintendent, Jessica? The superintendent of this cemetery, Jessica Smithers, so you can thank her. I've been asked to talk about people, which is some of my favorite thing to do. As I don't know that I would have called myself an essential worker during the pandemic, like some people were essential workers. I am a nurse. I'm a community advocate and a community helper, I like to consider myself. But this morning, as I've seen this a few times as it was developing, but I walked through, and at the very end, I was struck by, wow, there's somebody who was affected by the pandemic. And do you know what that is? It's the mirrors at the end. We all, every person here, every person who's not here, some of the people whose bodies now lie at this cemetery, we were all affected by the pandemic. So whereas it might sort of feel better to say, let's move on, that happened, wow, that happened, let's let it go. But I think taking a moment to remember is a very important thing to do. So while I'm telling you a couple of things that I remember, I hope that you now, and when you're walking through, can take a moment to think about some of your remembrances. I like to think of the pandemic as an arc, and it's not like that. It was up, like remember the very beginning, it's like, and now you shall stay home. Fear, unknown, what is this? Worldwide. I had friends and relatives in other countries that were stuck there, lovers that were separated. I had people who were calling me, asking me what to do, and I hate not knowing what to do, but I didn't know besides wash your hands, remember that? Stay inside, and masks. So I hope that you noticed that when we cut the opening up there, that it's masks that are tied together. That's going to be on the way in. And whoever thought, I bet you that people who are sewers, raise your hand if you are a sewer here. There's Donna. They got to save the day. Isn't that fun that there are sewers in the community? Just a couple of memories of the very beginning that, for those of you who know my husband, Mitch Sutter, he decided that it was his role to go to the grocery store. I was not allowed to the grocery store. And he went like he was going into battle. He had on a mask, like a facial, like a shield. Thank you, a shield. He had on his N95 mask. He had on like a jumpsuit, and he had gloves. And when he would come home from the store, I was like, whatever makes you feel good, honey. If you feel like that's the way you're helping, go for it. And when he would come home, he would take the groceries and set them on our kitchen floor and spray them with bleach. I don't know, for those of you who've ever been in my house, maybe the kitchen floor isn't the place you'd want to put your but it was part of the, we didn't know what to do, and we were going to do all that we could to keep ourselves safe. It was already mentioned by the beautiful prayer that we had in the beginning about the first responders. I thought of and I had some friends who were nurses and doctors and other healthcare providers who wouldn't go home to their family. They stayed in hotels, they slept at the hospital, because they didn't know. It was so unknown. The next thing I think that really rose up was alone. So many people were alone. Whether it was really, you were all alone, or you were mentally alone, or you were separated from the people that you want to be with. I'm especially moved by two groups. One is our children, who lost a year of their education, and importantly, a year of that social development. I am pleased that over time, people created a pod. Pods are not for whales just for whales anymore. They found a small group of neighbors to be able to be together with. The other group I was especially concerned about are our older adults. Not only because even today, many of them feel alone and lonely. Go knock on somebody's door, ask if they want a cup of tea or something, bring them some pie, even now, but especially then, because they were the most likely to become either seriously ill or die. Most of the people in Yolo County who died were older adults. There was one thing that happened during the pandemic, that even some people didn't die from COVID, but as always, people died. Some people very young. A very good neighbor of mine, Lynn, right down the street, died. And her family had to sneak into the hospital to be able to say goodbye to her, which is just heartbreaking. There were many people who had to die alone or with only the nurse holding their hand. And that's not something that can be brought back again. I think of my stepfather and my niece's husband, who was so young, and they died, and I couldn't get on an airplane to say goodbye and to be there to support them. So from alone, I saw the hallelujah of vaccines. Yes. I may have been able to give a shot to some of you here. I dusted off my nursing license, and I was like, I think I can remember how to give a shot. That's not so hard. And raise your hand if you were part of any of the vaccine pods. We had volunteers help. Raise your hand if you helped at all with any of them. There were people signing people in. We had people that were in parking lots. Yeah, that's right. We did that together. But for those of you who didn't have the pleasure of getting a shot from me, I'm going to tell you what it looked like. You would drive up, you'd roll down your window, and I'd say, which arm do you want? And then I would put it in, I'm like, and now it's time for a happy dance! Because it was finally like we had an answer, we had a way to move forward, that we could be safer. And I am so proud that in Yolo County we had a really clear vision of who needed to get the vaccine. And who was it? everybody, especially our older adults, because remember, those are the ones who are dying. And because of the genuine focus and efforts of the people of Yolo County, we got 98% of the people 60 and older got their first 2 vaccines. I think we should clap for that. Isn't that amazing? And also we had to focus on not just healthcare workers and frontline, but farm workers. Were frontline people who needed to keep working. We made sure that they were vaccinated. Grocery workers that got vaccinated. It was really that was for a terrible time. That was the favorite part of the pandemic for me. It was like, yes, we're going to work together and do it. I just wanted to briefly say about our business community. They also went through a very difficult time because they didn't have any customers. So perhaps I was thinking back about what I did. Like I would go to my places like Symposium. I'd order from them because I wanted to make sure that they lived on Common Grounds coffee. I would go in, buy 1 coffee and a $50 gift card that I had no intent of coming back and using again, but I just wanted to support them. And I know all of you did a lot of that kind of thing. Does anybody know what Zoom means? Anybody? Yeah, for YOLO Healthy Aging that I was the head of at the time, the very first Zoom meeting we had, I loved that every single one of my committee members had a dog. We're clearly very good people. So we had pictures, the first picture we had of all of us holding our dogs. So I love that. I can't say about the great things that happened, the good things that happened during the pandemic without mentioning the Oyster Bay dances. So thanks to Heidi Kellison and Kate Bone was also a part of that. It was a neighborhood thing, I think once a week, and they would spread out outside, because remember, outside was okay, we decided by that time, and dance and have community without touching each other or breathing too close on each other. And finally, I know that that Josh is going to talk some about Healthy Davis Together, but I love Healthy Davis Together. Just think about those words, Healthy Davis Together. I can say that I went on the very last day that we called them at our house spit test. Did you get your spit test this week? Did you have your spit test? I went there the last day that they were doing them, and I don't know if any of you know Kate Snow from the school district, a great employee, does a lot of important work. But her and I arrived at the same time, and we did our spit test, and when we were finished, we both cried and hugged because we were Healthy Davis Together. And so I hope that as we look back on the terrible things that happened during the pandemic, the thing that we can remember, that what we did was together. And I hope in the future when we have others, something that's terrible is going to happen, that we can remember that approach and do it together. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for having me here today. Thank you, Heidi, for reaching out and inviting me to say a few words here this morning. A couple things I just want to mention. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention twice in the past 8 days, our community has come together to recognize and offer memorials to 2 different things that happened in this community. Last Saturday, we did a groundbreaking for Officer Natalie Corona in the splash pad that's located in Central Park. And we saw our community come together, much the same as here, to offer a space that's everlasting for our community to come together and think about and reflect and learn about situations that happen in our community. And here we are today, 7 days later, opening up a memorial for something that challenged us all. It's a place for us to constantly come to reflect, to gather, remember in our own way how this impacted us and our community. I also just want to say one other piece. I know current council member and former mayor Gloria Partida couldn't make it here today, but for 2.5 years, Gloria, Mayor Partida at the time, was the leader who led our city and our city council, along with Supervisor Frericks, who was a vice mayor at that time, or mayor pro tem, I guess it was called, who stepped up. And I don't think in any situation when you're in an elected office, you think that you're going to be dealing with a global pandemic, dealing with lockdowns. But I feel so very fortunate to have served with both of them, and I can't communicate to this community how fortunate we all are to have their leadership during that time. So as some of the other speakers have said, COVID-19 had many silver linings. One such was the resilience of community and our ability to mobilize in the face of adversity. During COVID, there was a need for families and individuals to protect themselves, and through the ingenuity, funding, and collaboration of UC Davis, the City of Davis, Yolo County, and many other partners, Healthy Davis Together was born, an award-winning pandemic response program. Healthy Davis Together was so integral and successful because we asked and answered the question, how do we protect our students, our staff, our business community, our residents, and the most vulnerable who call Davis home? Essentially, Healthy Davis Together showed us how we can protect our entire community. We didn't just think about ourselves, we thought about our neighbors and teachers, our public safety employees, the unsheltered, our business owners, our seniors, and others in this community. As we all experienced, Healthy Davis Together had many challenges, but through this great partnership, we had never worked to this scale. One of the many challenges that we faced and overcame was the impact to our business community, of which I and my family are a part of. We felt and understood the impacts to close businesses, how to protect our staff, and also how to protect our customers and make them feel safe. To help with this challenge, Healthy Davis Together implemented the Business Partners Program. The program supported businesses and local economy through a variety of resources and means, including free PPE equipment, grant reimbursements of up to $5,000 for items that businesses bought that aided them in safely reopening, free COVID-19 testings to employees and their families, access to business ambassadors and public health specialists, and taking the time to market and encourage the community to patronize businesses safely. This program ran from November 2020 through June of 2021 and included the City of Davis, the Davis Downtown Business Association, and the Davis Chamber of Commerce. During the program's 8-month run, a total of 424 Davis businesses participated, which is about 30% of the customer-facing businesses in the community. The Business Partner Program was one facet of the amazing project and program of Healthy Davis Together. Other facets included the saliva-based COVID-19 testing that Sheila mentioned earlier, which is provided by the UC Davis Genome Center, our wastewater monitoring program, our quarantine and isolation practices and resources, our vaccination policies and support of our ag work community, and many others. The one silver lining I want to bring out in this story for the pandemic is that we found how strong we are, how resilient we all can be. When it comes to our families, our friends, and our businesses, we are ready to step up every single time. That is what it means to live in Davis and to call this our home. Let's hope that nothing like COVID ever happens again, but if by chance it does, I know that we're going to be okay. I believe in us and the Davis community. Thank you.
It's an honor to stand before you all today to dedicate this memorial, a quiet reminder of the time that changed our lives forever. A time that was marked by fear, loss, and a lot of uncertainty. As firefighters, we're used to responding to the moments of crisis and the people in the community that we care for. But we showed up because that's what we're called to do. During those long months, we found ourselves on the front lines in ways that we hadn't before, transporting people who were gravely ill, knowing that each call that you would respond to carried new risks, and who knew what else. We weren't looking for praise then, and I don't think any of us are looking for praise now. We responded when the calls came in. We worked alongside other community members, doctors, nurses, police officers, grocery store employees, parents juggling remote learning and working from home. And yet, in the midst of all this, we saw incredible acts of kindness. Neighbors helping neighbors, people supporting one another in big and small ways. And that spirit is what I'd like to honor today. Every person in this community had a part to play, and that's what makes this so special. This memorial isn't just for those that we lost, but for everyone who carried us through this crisis. We must continue to engage a sense of compassion and connection, ensuring that no one feels alone with their grief. Let's advocate for mental health resources and support systems throughout our community, so we can continue to move forward together as a society.
So this poem, I was thinking about it, and I've changed the title to my poem to More Than COVID. What began 3 years ago as Stephen Simpson's dream has become the reality we celebrate here today. 4 portals lead us to a reflection wall where we see ourselves connected to the world around us, an invitation to see all human beings as whole, the disabled enabled, gender change, and our acceptance unchanged. Our politics, even protests given voice, the choice of our love partner protected, our world engaged, mirrors of life and let live. We enter the path through two small pillars with symbols created by David citizens, and onward through four portals, a poem of life. On the first portal, a tree limb grows up on each side with branches that reach across to a moss in the center of a wooden beam bridging the top. On the other side, the words of the poem, isolation, shock, home. Near the top, a nest with eggs, some broken, our little nest eggs, sometimes shattered. On the wooden beam of the second portal, open hands hold a bird. A dark hand holds one that is white, another holds one that is brown. The poem continues, support, health, community. Somehow, these words reach far beyond COVID, to all life in our community, to the dark or light color of a caregiver, a teacher, a minister, to all of those who help us. The third portal has a full moon on each side that gradually comes to the new moon at the center, where a heron waits. The poem words continue, loss, grief, remembrance. On the pillars, out of a large leaf at the bottom, candles reach up on each side, or on one side to a dove. This speaks to so many events in the lives of people all over the world. The fourth portal opens us to a wall of mirrors with many butterflies, birds, and flowers. Hope, healing, renewal. All the world needs this portal. As we come to the wall of mirrors, may we see the inner connectedness in the web of our lives. See the threads of life connect us, one to another, woven into beauty like an oriental rug. This COVID memorial, like a fine poem, seems far more than just the words for an allotted time to remember one disease. It becomes a monument to creativity, to love and hope, to our human connectedness, to a dream captured in the heart of all who made this possible.
We are holding you in our arms, holding you close in our hearts, in our warm embrace. We are holding you close in our arms. We are holding you in our arms, holding you close in our hearts, in our warm embrace. We are holding you close in our hearts. We are holding in a warm embrace. We are holding you close in our hearts. We are holding you in our hearts, holding you close in our hearts, in a warm embrace. We are holding you close in our
Before I get started, I wanted to thank somebody in the audience, Robin Souza. Robin is Stephen's other half. Stephen's worked with Stephen for not months, but years. So we greatly appreciate getting to borrow. I'd like to take a minute to focus on essential workers and the impact COVID-19 has had specifically on our employees. When the stay-at-home order took effect, our staff continued to come to work. As essential workers of a cemetery district, we came face to face with many who had been exposed to COVID and were left with the challenge of providing compassionate service to our community while scrambling to put measures into place to keep our visitors and our own families safe. In many ways, the pandemic bonded our staff. It taught us that even in the darkest of times, we could come together to support our community and one another. Like Stephen said, our staff participated in the planning and assisted with every step of the construction of this memorial. To our staff, who most are here today, Judy, Matt, Dylan, David, and Artemis, I cannot thank you enough for your hard work and dedication to this project. As you walk through the memorial, you will see many tiles representing essential workforce. I hope this memorial brings a peace and sense of heartfelt appreciation to everyone who worked on the front lines. I hope you'll continue to visit as our staff works to perfect the memorial with privacy landscaping and informational signage. Now, it's my pleasure to introduce Wesley Horn. Wes is a second-generation sculptor, ceramicist, mosaicist, and builder who was the lead artist for this project. Welcome back.
Well, hello everyone. Thank you for coming. This is really amazing, and I think still with a lot of weight, we look upon those early days just a year ago when we knew we had some number of portals, and we knew we had to do justice to such an immense thing as the COVID pandemic, but had no idea how we would do that. We had just some community surveys and some input from people around us about words and themes and anecdotes that guided us as we put this together. But even after all the effort that has taken us from there to here, it's really amazing to see you all gathered in front of what is a finished product. And I'm really looking for all of us, I think, when I say we have a lot of pride about what this represents, about our efforts, and moreover, the Davis community. So I just want to real briefly give a little love and gratitude to some of the people who helped make it possible. Certainly Jennifer Nachmanoff and Donna Lemongello. You could take a bow. They are certainly
family fixtures and heavyweights in the Davis arts scene, particularly ceramics, and spent countless hours with me in the studio making a lot of these tiles, hosting the community build workshops. An overstatement to say over 300 plus community members are represented physically in the tiles and handmade ceramics on these portals. We had a number of open, free community build sessions at places like the Davis Craft and Vintage Fair, at the International House, at the Davis School for Independent Study, and had just amazing open hearts and open hands of everyone that came through, making small handmade tiles that you see throughout all the obelisks and the portals that are representative of their thoughts of the pandemic or things that they felt were indicative of our efforts. And so way too many to mention. I know a lot of them are present here today, so thank you for everyone who got involved. We had no idea and had no kind of precedence for doing a mosaic mural and a painted mural together. None of those working on the project had done that, so that was kind of a leap of faith, but I think we're thrilled with how they have come together, and that certainly represents the diversity of people we had working on it. I want to mention Brenda Sebrian, who was the head of our muralist painter team. Also Gregory Schilling, who's here today. Also William Durkee. William did the first header, Brenda did the second, and William did the third and fourth, and did really beautiful work that complemented and meshed with our mosaics really nicely. So again, very proud of that. Mo Rott Smith's beautiful last reflecting wall and her hand-painted ceramic tiles are beautiful. Thank you for all the support of the people with the board and here at the cemetery. Certainly Heidi Tellison, Jessica Smithers, the grounds crew, as Stephen said, always stepped in and were just first rate and supportive and positive and keep this place looking the first rate Arboretum district and cemetery district it is. It's been said, but you can't say too many times how many hours and how much of his heart Stephen Souza put into this project. Thank you, Stephen. And that's all I have. I know that us with our tie-dye shirts, again, thank you, Stephen, we'll be out wandering. So if any of you have questions or want some kind of context to the portals and our thought process and how we came about them, we'll be wandering around and be happy to meet you all. But
wait. Introduce your well-behaved boy.
This is my son Maxwell, and he also participated. He'd be happy to show you his file. And he was there for all of it. So again, thank you everyone. This is such a credit to our community. This really makes me feel like there's no project that our community can't take on and really do a world-class job on. So thank you everyone.
As we begin this journey, we are reminded that none of us walk this path alone. We'll reach the end of the memorial at the reflection wall, which calls us to remember that our experiences are all connected. So may we move forward in love and in kindness, and may we never forget those who lost so much. I'd like to ask our electeds, our artists, our board, our staff to join me at the ribbon cut, the mask cutting. We're going to cut the mask.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Please move forward through the memorial, and you can walk on in the center of our wonderful choir.
What are we here for? If not love, 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 what are we
kind of people sharing their stories and anecdotes. Some people just share like a list of words that resonated with them.